that is the 50 by 50 example. Vermont, the state of Vermont has set aside 50% of its land for nature. So that's, they said 50% by 2050. So that's a large portion of the state. In Alaska, the Forest Service is working with Native Americans. So that's a 30 by 30 example. I mean, in the US, the Forest Service has started working with Native Americans on conservation. And that's going to improve the conservation efforts. So then this example is in the US state of California, 30 by 30. And they have a successful 30 by 30 river restoration project between the California government and the Yurok tribe in California. The indigenous Yurok people are fishermen. In order to sustain their lives in the process, they protect the environment too. And by the way, David, I believe you worked on some condor project. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a while back. I did help with that, and also wild turkeys, as well as wild turkeys. Yes.
So, did you work on the Northern California reintroduction of condors into Northern California?
It was actually, they were trying to, at that time, they were trying to trap and ban them. So we were actually, I was just in the preparation mode, but we have never actually like caught one, but it was down Southern California.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
so the Yurok Indians in Northern California, Humboldt County, are working to restore the condors to their area. They had them, they were there, several hundred years ago, a couple hundred years or 100 years ago, and they're sacred to the Yurok Indians. And so I got online. They actually had you could watch the condors. They had a camera on them, and you could see them. And they had a team reporting on the condors and what's happening with them. I thought it was really interesting. Anyway, let's move on. So now there's 50. We have 50 by 50 examples in the United States. Why not Tanzania? So let's decide you decided to go on this tour to Ngorongoro or other place. Anyway, you will deal with your carbon budget, deal with your guilt about your carbon emissions in other ways, and you have decided that you will practice responsible tourism. There is a way that you can help keep carbon emissions low by saving indigenous people from land grabbing and human rights abuses, especially if you engage your friends in this endeavor. I heard a ding. Somebody trying to get on? No. All right. So we're going to talk about responsible tourism now. This is the Cape Town Declaration that is standard for most tourism. It recognizes that, let me see if I can do this here so you can see it. That responsible tourism takes a variety of forms. It is characterized by travel and tourism, which minimizes negative economic, environmental, and social impacts, generates greater economic benefits for local people, and enhances the well-being of host communities, improves working conditions and access to the industry, involves local people in decisions that affect their lives and life changes, makes positive contributions to the conservation of natural and cultural heritage, to the maintenance of the world's diversity, provides more enjoyable experiences for tourists, through more meaningful connections with local people and a greater understanding of local cultural, social, and environmental issues. Provides access for people with disabilities and disadvantage, is culturally sensitive, engenders respect between tourists and hosts, and builds local pride and confidence. And for some reason, I wasn't happy with this one. I didn't think it went far enough. It doesn't go into enough detail about how you do this. So I started talking about, let's see. Oh my God. There we go. A different version. I thought we should check, see if the tours are beneficial to the environment. Do the tours benefit the locals? Is there any regulations required of safari companies to preserve the environment, and is it enforced? Do the locals approve of the tourism and the manner in which it is conducted? Does tourism give a chance for the locals to talk meaningfully to the tourists and vice versa? Does tourism promote respect for local culture? Does tourism help indigenous people get their land back, or allow them to manage that land using their knowledge based on centuries of maintaining a healthy environment? And would it result in a landscape that is not a carbon emitter? So that's more in-depth definition of responsible tourism. But then I came across David's tourism business. he posted on Facebook. And part of responsible tourism is picking a good tourism company with local guides that are familiar with and sympathetic with the locals and knowledgeable about the situation. And the Sierra Club, when it does a tour into Ngorongoro, it doesn't do this. It just probably picks a tour guide who's got an ad somewhere and doesn't think about whether he's a person that lives there. I mean, a local person, and especially in an indigenous one, such as the Maasai. So I started looking at David's website, and so he's got this social impact responsible tourism, and there's his definition: being mindful of the impact of tourism on people, animals, and environment. It means participating in a version of tourism that benefits host communities and the planet in harmonious synergy. So, David, this is remarkable. Did Daniel help you put all this together?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we work with Danielle and come up with all this, and also how we actually want to do kind of, not mass tourism, something that it's more beneficial to the local people and also to the to the environment. We actually believe that without local people, then there would have been no animal by now. Those local people who have been there for a long time, example, Maasai and the other tribes, they actually preserve the animal for a long time. So without involving them somehow, then it's actually it's not that beneficial.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the kind of tourism that I really want to see. So it means participating in or creating an infrastructure for travel that avoids exploitation of people. In other words, you're looking at the infrastructure for the travel as well as the rest of it. Most of all, it means traveling in a way that gives back. We know that when you fall in love with East Africa, you will want to give back to this amazing region of the globe. At Adumu Safaris, we are dedicated to make sure that your safari creates cross-cultural awareness and understanding, contributes to the economic uplift and self-determination of East African people, and upholds international standards of ecotourism. If I ever go again to Africa, I want to go with you, David. Or
That's I'm gonna try to turn my so that you can see me here, but that's actually another reason why we are doing a little bit of change here, because it used to be when people go to Tanzania or to Kenya, uh, a lot of people go there and then come back without even knowing the people, because you just jump to this park and then after that you fly to another park. After that you fly to a different park. That way you'll see a lot of animals though, but not really, you don't really have the deep knowledge or knowing about local that are actually in there. So our tourism, our packages, most of the time we actually don't do that. We involve local communities. We actually have to customize based on that. Even we talk to people, and most of our clients, we talk to them. That's why we are here. And then we like to go this way, because you cannot, it's not just good to go to a country and get good pictures of the buffalo, but at the end of the day you don't even know the history of the country, you don't know the people. And we have had situation where people go up there and they want to go back again, and it's not because of wildlife. They actually telling us now it's just the whole experience, the people, and how they actually coexist with wildlife. I'm just amazing how they actually do that. So that's make us a little bit unique compared to other company that you just go to Serengeti, Ngorongoro, Manyara, Masai Mara, and then come back to the state.
Yeah, great. I love it. So you also have this, you have a charity, the Adumu Impact Fund, and is that still happening?
Yeah, so the company is it's for profit, and then Adumu Impact is a non-profit, and some of the profit that accrued from the company go to Adumu Impact, and then that's how we actually be able to help with the local community. We have a project, a water project going on up in West Kilimanjaro right now. And then also we have a conservation project with a rhino project too going on. But it was a little bit, we are not, up and running quickly because of COVID too. It did hit, and then because of the business that support the non-profit, it did not come up as planned up quickly. But now the business is coming back, and then we're actually heading that out. We're also planning to help with some of the Maasai girls, and also a lodge up in Lake Natron area. Eventually build that lodge and have local actually oversee the lodge, and we just send the client there, but all the money that accrued from the lodge just trickle down to the local community who are there.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, is that it goes back and helps the Maasai. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe it'll go so far as to help the Maasai that I'm working with get save the Ngorongoro for them. I don't know, that's like a miracle, but we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, it's we actually try to bring also different kind of, stakeholders, including journalists from all over. We are trying to just be ambassador and make sure that all our clients, when we get to Ngorongoro or Lake Natron, we make them aware of the problem. We actually don't cut short of the problem. So our guides know that that we have to talk. There's a problem, and regardless of what, our clients need to be aware of what's actually going on in the region. And recently we had few people from few journalists from up in the Washington Post and also Al Jazeera that actually doing a little bit of research in that area. So awareness, it's really important, and we have seen that it does actually work. Last, I think it was 2 years ago, the government wanted to put a road all the way in the middle of Serengeti, but there's a world outcry, there's awareness that let's not do that. But he actually pushed Tanzania government not to do that, to destroy the whole ecosystem and put a road down there.
Yeah.
So that's actually, we are limited of what we can actually do, like, tell the government not to do it, but through our awareness, via our clients, different media, and spread the word out.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we want to work on is getting the clients to understand enough to want to do something, for writing an article or talking to their local papers or various ways to publicize what's going on. So that's so we want the tourists to help, basically, and they're in a good position to help by going to East Africa and finding out what's going on.
Yeah. Hey, Karen, I just want to make a little bit clear too that tourism, we actually think tourism is not bad, but tourism has to be done correctly, somehow. But if it's done correctly, it's actually very, very beneficial to, either local community and the other entities, but it has to be done, correctly.
Right. Right. Okay, well, I'm going to proceed with the rest of the presentation, and you're welcome to stay and watch, or if you're busy, and I know you are, you can drop off, whichever you want to do.
All right, thanks.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll proceed on. Let's see if we can do the next slide. So those are just links to the rest of the website. So here's another example of responsible tourism. It's the Olmoti Clinic, and it's an NGO run by an American woman. I think her name is Linda. And she has this Olmoti school, and she has a clinic, apparently. And she pretty much takes care of the whole community. And so once a year, they have a safari and cultural tour. And some of the days of the tour are shown on the right. Day 3, Olmoti School, and then day 4 is Tarangire, Tarangire Plains, Lake Manyara, Ngorongoro Crater, and I didn't show them all. I think it's 2 weeks. So that's an example. You're benefiting in a particular community in Tanzania. And here's another example that's a different way. This one goes to Nepal, where they had a large earthquake. And this is helping build a house to replace the house that fell down. Actually, this area I'm familiar with. I've been to Badel, which is quite a coincidence. one of our friends is Nepali. He's now in the United States, but his mother is still in Baudel, and we've gone there to visit his parents. So,